Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess, it's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. Srinath opens the battle with a bold pawn to e4, grabbing central space and freeing his queen and bishop for future strikes. Wesley So answers sharply with the Sicilian c5, immediately contesting the center and promising a symmetrical counterplay. Srinath develops his knight to nf3, eyes d4, and supports e5 control. Tidy development, scouts ready for the first skirmish. Wesley places his knight on nc6, contesting d4 and reinforcing the c5 pawn. The knight eyes queenside in central jumps. Srinath opts for a solid d3, bolstering e4 and avoiding early complications. Patient build-up, aiming for a controlled middle game. Wesley commits to a kingside fianchetto with gzx. bg7 will become a long-range piece pressuring the center and white's king. Srinath mirrors the setup with g3, preparing bg2. Two fianchettos now stare at each other, signaling strategic, positional play. Wesley places his bishop on bg7, where it becomes a long-range archer, ready to pounce if the center opens. Srinath completes his fianchetto with bg2. The bishop eyes the long diagonal and teams with the e4 pawn for future pressure. Wesley shores up with zix to support c5 and prepare e5. Solid Sicilian backbone, low drama but high potential. Srinath castles kingside with 0-0. Tucking his monarch safely and centralizing the rook on AoE to back possible e-file activity. Wesley immediately strikes with e5, challenging e-file and inviting central tension that could free his bishops and open lines. Srinath develops the queen knight to nbd2, reinforcing f3 and f4 while keeping flexible reroute options to b3 or f1, g3. Wesley plays in g7, avoiding pins, and preparing to redeploy the knight to g6 or sate when the time is right. Srinath centralizes his rook with re1 behind the pawn, ready to support an eventual e-pawn thrust or exploit e-file weaknesses. Wesley castles kingside with 0-0, securing his king and connecting rooks. The rook on gate eyes potential g-file storms. Srinath plays key3 to control d4 and prevent annoying knight jumps. Solid preparatory move for central expansion later. Wesley plays h6 as simple prophylaxis, denying ng5 and giving his king a breathing square, a small but prudent lift. Srinath reroutes the knight to nf1, aiming for g3 or e3 to increase kingside pressure. Patient redeployment with attacking plans. Wesley sidesteps his king to check7, a subtle safety move that avoids checks and keeps his attacking options intact on the king side. Srinath plants a3, like building a fortress wall, keeping any black knights or bishops from invading d4. Slow, careful, but strategic. Wesley instantly answers with a5, claiming space on the queen side. It's a territorial push saying, "You build a wall? I'll build a tower." Anyone, say. Srinath breaks the calm with h4, signaling war on the king side. He's not here to dance, he's here to storm the fortress. Wesley fires back with 5, cracking open the center. Pawns collide, tension rises, the air thickens like a coming thunderstorm. Srinath repositions his knight to Nunhatfu, clearly aiming for g4. The knight sharpens its blade, ready to jump into battle. Wesley counters with d5, an explosion in the middle. He's saying, "You attack me? I'll burn the center first." And say. Srinath accepts the challenge with x5, pawns shatter, and the e-file opens like a gate to war. Wesley retakes with gsf5, the g-file is now wide open, his rook licking its lips behind the storm. Srinath pushes h5, the pawn marching right toward the enemy king like a fearless soldier under fire. Wesley calmly develops his bishop to b7, connecting his rooks and guarding b5, the calm before another punch. Srinath leaps his knight to nh4, eyes blazing toward f5. The beast is hungry for that weak pawn. Wesley answers coolly with bf6, pinning, guarding, and challenging the knight's ambition. The battlefield tightens. Srinath goes all in with ng6, slamming into enemy lines, an invasion that screams, "Do or die." Ninyan, intimanda, istiwa nejawinda, unmorsid dice. Wesley slides his rook to r8, laser focused on that knight, ready to punish the intruder. Srinath bites, first with nc7, his knight on g6 captures on s7. He wins a piece, but now he's deep behind enemy lines. Wesley instantly recaptures with nx7. No panic, just precision. Material equal, but nerves. Tested. Srinath calmly brings his knight back to nf3, repositioning for defense, perhaps realizing his attack might overextend it. Wesley develops with force, nc6, more pressure on d4 and f5. The Black Army is mobilizing. Srinath places his queen on qb3, eyeing the queenside and b7 pawn, a shift of battlefield, keeping Wesley guessing. Wesley quietly drops his bishop back to b8, a deceptive retreat. He's not scared. He's setting a trap. Srinath's queen dives deep with qx7, sniping the pawn on b7. It's a bold raid behind enemy lines. Flashy, dangerous, and loud. Wesley coolly slides his rook to rg7, blocking the check with surgical precision. The Black Army stays calm under fire. Srinath retreats the queen to qb3, dodging danger, but still watching the queenside. The raider returns, loot in hand. Wesley pushes f4, chasing space and threatening to trap the queen, a steel wall advancing down the board. Srinath tucks his queen back to qc2, a cautious move. The queen looks smaller now, a lion hiding behind pawns. Wesley's bishop strikes with bhf5, the a5 pawn falls, and the black bishop tastes blood for the first time. Srinath slides his king to h2, a quiet move that says, "All right, I'll wait for my moment." Cain before chaos. Wesley shoves Safar, a brutal pawn thrust straight at White's heart. The center shatters again, Black's attack is real. Srinath brings his rook to roan, protecting the h-file, and maybe dreaming of counterattack. He's not giving up just yet. Boom! Wesley's pawn on file explodes open lines with fxt3. One of white's last shields is gone, and the king feels the storm. Srinath recaptures with fxd3. His pawn steps up to block, loyal but shaky. Smoke and fire everywhere. Wesley strikes again, in The bishop from a5 snaps the knight on f3 with bxf3, pure violence on the Kingside. Srinath takes back with bxf3, trade accepted, but now the g-file is open wide, danger level rising fast. Wesley's bishop swoops to bh4, pinning and threatening. The bishop's stare is venomous. Srinath's king is trapped in a web. Srinath lashes out with d4e, a desperate counter. He throws a grenade into the center, trying to distract the enemy. Wesley calmly closes it with e4. No panic, just a steel door shutting down all dreams of counterplay. Srinath swings his bishop to bf4, hunting diagonals, trying to spark life in his fading army. Wesley's bishop steps to bg5, checkmate geometry forming. The coordination is deadly, and white's king is cornered. Srinath tries b5, blocking, holding, maybe dreaming of counter-sacrifice. Brave, but desperate. Wesley's knight calmly chops the bishop with c5. The position collapses. Black controls everything now. Srinath captures back with dxf5, a final attempt to open lines, but it feels like a wounded soldier swinging in smoke. Wesley's bishop glides to bf4, slicing through the board like a blade. The attack is coordinated, merciless, unstoppable. Srinath strikes back with bx4, a last flash of resistance. His bishop throws one last punch before falling. Wesley sidesteps to kite, cool, precise, like a general dodging a bullet without flinching. Srinath plants his bishop on bf5, still fighting, trying to shield his king and bite into the black center. Wesley's rook crashes in with rxg3. A brutal sacrifice of steel and fire. Srinath's defenses are crumbling fast. Srinath's queen rushes to qg2, blocking, trying to hold the bleeding line. The tension is unbearable. Wesley's queen swoops to qhr4e, check! A deadly strike. The king is dancing on the edge of a cliff. Srinath throws his bishop in front with bh3, a human shield, noble but doomed. Smash! Wesley's rook takes the bishop with rxh3, exploding open the last barrier. Srinath's king flees to Kaigon, panic mode, surrounded by fire and ghosts. Wesley coldly delivers Arxhoni, another rook strike. It's precision-engineered chaos, nothing left but wreckage. Srinath's queen recaptures with Q shown. She fights to the end, but the battlefield is all black now. Wesley sends his bishop to b3, forcing the king further into darkness. Check after check, pure torture. Srinath king stumbles to kg2. Each step slower, heavier, the end is near. Wesley's rook swoops to r8, another hammer blow. Every piece joins the assault in perfect harmony. Srinath's king runs to kf3, exposed, desperate, nowhere left to hide. Wesley calmly brings his queen back to qd8, silent, chilling precision. He's not rushing, he's savoring victory. Srinath makes his final move, qd1, but it's hopeless. His position collapses under black's total domination. 0-1. Wesley So claims victory. A masterclass of patience turned into fury. Calm opening, surgical middle game, and a ruthless finish. Srinath fought bravely, but Wesley's precision was simply inhuman. The battlefield belongs to the American Titan.